6-6 is an epic battle to make this playoff run. Are they ready for it? They got to be ready mentally, physically, and take advantage. Can they do this? We're going to find out today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network for your daily Kansas City Chiefs show here on Locked On Chiefs. That network is now the #1 sports podcast network out there. We appreciate you being here, and you everydayers help us make that. Thank you for being one of the everydayers and getting back with us. Thanks for making another Locked On show your next listen. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So go check them out over at FanDuel. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, as well as NFL33.com and RGR Football. We run it down from everywhere all the time around the league and around the Chiefs. Please check those out if you have time. Matt Derrick is our extinguished, one of those, Matt. Our guest, he runs ChiefsDigest.com, Chiefs Digest here on the YouTube platform, and is the host of 41 is the Mic podcast. And my partner in crime, Chris Clark, is over there from KC Chiefs Corner. We've been doing this together 16,000 years. No, 9 years is what it is. It just feels like that, and it's okay. We've run it down for you pretty much for the whole Andy Reid regime. We appreciate you guys being with us today. Rare air for us to be at a 500 level with this football team, staring elimination in the face, but they still have an opportunity. We're going to talk about how and why, and there's several layers to it. There's a mental aspect of it. Are they ready to make this run with the guys in this locker room? Then the injury concern. What are the question marks? Who are we most concerned about physically being able to be strong enough to make this run? And then can you take advantage? Can you carpe diem the night on Sunday Night Football to get it all started? That's where we're going today. And Matt, I am going to start with you because you understand the inner workings of this locker room. And I can't help but feel like for the first time in quite a while, reaction to a loss was a little bit different this time. Planning forward, as you look at this team as a whole, veterans or otherwise, do you feel that the 6 losses that they've already earned this season has worn more so on this roster than it has on maybe past rosters? Do you think that they're ready to make a 5-game run to try to make it into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's really curious, Ryan. I mean, I've had a hard time kind of getting a read on where this locker room is this season. And, and part of it is that I think there's some veterans that do understand just how kind of in a peculiar predicament they are. I mean, they know that, hey, they pretty much have to win out at this point. They can maybe withstand 1 loss. Hard to see them withstanding 2, and maybe even withstanding the wrong loss is going to be difficult. But I feel like that all season long, I mean, both publicly and privately, that, the message that this team has kind of sent in the locker room has been that, hey, everything's going to be okay, that this team has the confidence that, that they can still pull it out, that there's nothing is too insurmountable, and that they feel like that they can, as a 7 seed, they could pop into the playoffs and win all the way. And honestly, I mean, I've never gotten a sense that they feel like that they're going to be a 7 seed. I mean, it's been really weird. And, and there's definitely, I think, a little bit of dichotomy, if you will, in the locker room, in that, there's the veterans that they have, they're kind of feeling they've been there before, and maybe there's not a whole lot of panic. There's the guys who maybe have 1 ring, they've been here a couple of years at least, and, and they at least still have that faith that, yeah, they're going to put the pedal down, they're going to get there. And there's the guys without a ring that just, I don't know. I mean, I think there's different camps, maybe some of them are just like, hey, the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs. They're always going to win. They're always going to make it through. So, something's going to happen. And then there's another group that probably is a little panicked and a little unsure of themselves and doesn't know. I mean, I've, like I said, I think, I don't know if we really truly have seen what this locker room is really, really thinking yet, and how they're going to feel after if they lose another game, then I'm going to be really interested to see what happens. Cause at that point, you're getting things real. Now that's to say we're going to see another loss, and obviously this team would prefer not to.
Well, and you talk about that, but if they lose this next game, they're essentially out, I think. I don't know how you overcome a loss to Houston at this point. Houston would be ahead of you. You're already behind Jacksonville. You're already going to be behind the Buffalo Bills. And that doesn't include your own division where you're probably not able to catch the Broncos and you're behind the Chargers as well. So another loss this week really puts them in a poor position if they even have a chance to come back. But it also sounds like what you're saying is that this team really doesn't seem to, maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect from the reality of where this team is and the way they're looking at this game, or the way they're looking at this season, and the way that they're looking at how this can go for the next couple of weeks, Matt.
Yeah, and when I asked Andy Reid yesterday, and obviously this was a question that started the whole
I love the comment
that I'm sure everybody has seen. But what I did, I asked him what his level of confidence was that they could win these next 5 games. The first 3 words out of his mouth were, "I believe that." I mean, Andy Reid, at least at this point, he's the only player on this team, only coach in this team that we've gotten a chance to talk to this week heading into Wednesday. I mean, he's professing belief that this team can pull it off, that they're still in this race. And I'll be honest, I don't know if it was just playing on a Thursday, a weekend of rest, maybe a good night's sleep that we don't usually get from Andy Reid on a Monday. But he seemed like he was in a good mood and seemed a little bit more relaxed than I would think of a coach that's got a team that's coming off another perplexing loss and whose season is a little bit on the brink. And I don't know if that is just genuine bravado, that he's like, hey, he truly believes that this team is just inches away from clearing up all these little mistakes that have cost them and that they're ready to go on a run, or whether he's just accepted their fate and ready for whatever happens next and isn't too worried about it. But I mean, at least you have to like the fact that he's saying that they're going to go out. Didn't say it this way, but I'll put it in a nicer way. He's ready to go out in a blaze of glory with this team.
I guess the question then becomes to me, Matt, is do you think that they can, in your estimation of this team, do they have the mental capacity to just go out and go do it? Do you think they can get it done?
I mean, any team, I feel like, and I've always felt like, I mean, this is coming to the league, any team with Patrick Mahomes has a chance. So I'm never going to bet against him. Doesn't mean I'm going to bet with him, but I'm never going to bet against him, because I still don't know which Chiefs team is going to show up from week to week. This team has played games where it looks like the best team in the NFL. And this team has played games where it looks every part of the 6-6 team that it is. I don't know if they're really good or really average and mediocre. And honestly, the line this year in the NFL is super thin in that margin. So maybe that's just truly the case. But hey, is this team capable of just putting everything aside and getting through 5 straight games without making dumb mistakes that cost them a game? I think they are. It's just a matter of will they.
I think that they've actually looked like they are below a 500 team at times this year as well. So it just really depends on which Chiefs team decides to show up. And at this point, they don't have a choice. They have to win out. They have to give themselves a chance to make the playoffs. And there's going to be a bunch of injuries that we're going to have to talk about right after this.
The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, or guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. And it's not just something that you wrap, it's a way to share your memories. Because Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there for them. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos, you want to do that. You can add a personalized message right there so the frame feels thoughtful at the moment that it's open. Packaging comes off gift ready with no price tag, no wrapping needed. It's a huge win. For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com and get $35 off of Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code LOCKEDON when you check out. That's Aura, AURA, frames.com. Promo code locked on. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and the frames do sell out fast, so order now and get it before the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. That always helps. Terms and conditions do apply. Check out Chiefs Digest for more from Matt and Casey, Chiefs Corner for more from Chris. You know where to find me at NFL33.com, as well as RGR Football. Matt, there's one thing to be mentally prepared. There's another thing to go through this stretch with the Thursday night game. Injuries are here. The Chiefs ended the last contest without either of their starting tackles. There's a possibility Trey Smith isn't able to play. Is this even fathomable that they could go into a ball game with 40% of their starting offensive line and actually pull out a win?
I mean, they have done it before. I mean, it's not unheard of. Now, we have also seen this team go out with two of its starting tackles, with Patrick Mahomes going out there behind the kind of line like that and also getting smoked. So there's that. But again, I mean, if there's one player, one coach combo that's capable of navigating something like that, I mean, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So they can pull it off. But you're right. If they don't have Josh Simmons and Jawaan Taylor, Jalen Moore, if he's dinged up, I mean, that's a problem. And honestly, I mean, if Wanye Morris is starting at left tackle, I don't think that's what you want. I think you'd rather be able to have Jalen at left tackle and Wanye at right, but that wasn't the way that the injuries kind of unfolded and let them do against Dallas. So starting a game fresh, be interested to see how that happens. But Jawan's going to be a big piece. I mean, if you've got at least you have Jawaan Taylor this week and you can start Jalen Moore at left tackle, you're going to be feeling a lot better. I mean, that's not – the Chiefs have been there and they've won games that way. So that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and I wonder when you start talking about injuries and how it's going to play out, let's go worst case scenario for just a moment, just to look at it from that perspective. You don't have Simmons, you don't have Jawaan Taylor, and Jalen Moore is injured, is dinged up. Maybe Wanye Morris is your left tackle. Is it possible Kansas City brings Driscoll off of the practice or off IR this week?
No, there's no chance. Ethan Driscoll will be out for the rest of the season. So
okay, just wanted to clarify that because I know people have been asking. And so in that scenario, you're looking at you'd have to bring somebody in, which Kansas City did on Monday. They brought a whole bunch of players in tryout capacity, right? So you have to wonder what they're thinking is going to happen at that position.
Yeah, I mean, because, on your practice squad, you really, as your tackles, you only have Essa Pillay and Chu Godric. And both project players still. I mean, Chu's been around at least a few seasons, and there's a lot of people who believe he's close, and so maybe it's time for him to get a chance. But close to being on an NFL roster versus being close enough to replace Josh Simmons or Jawaan Taylor in the lineup is still a fair leap. But you may have to find out what some of those guys have. And the fact that the Chiefs, when they're bringing in tryout players, I mean, that obviously tells you that they are concerned that they're going to have to restock that practice squad because maybe they do have a guy or two that's going to be going on injured reserve. And if that's the case, and, this late in the season, you're pretty much your die is cast. You're not necessarily bringing anybody onto the practice squad that you're thinking is going to be playing meaningful snaps for you. But if the Chiefs are in that spot, then it's a concern.
Now, there's one thing about being injured, and there's one thing like playing like you're injured. And I would argue that the defensive line plays like they're missing starters, and we have not seen the push from that particular group. This is one that I think is both a combination of what we talked about in the first segment being more the mental resiliency, but also having the ability to dial up your physicality and your ability to get to the pass rusher. Now, I don't think the Texans are quite the obstacle that maybe they saw last week. I would say generally a little bit more athletic in Dallas than they are in Houston. But if you look at this defensive group, we've seen fits from a number of players, but nothing consistent this entire season. Chris Jones having a down year because he's drawing all these doubles. Is there any way with the players available to them, Matt, that they can change the way they go about game planning or about attacking the Texans, that maybe they can give them a physical boost on the field?
I mean, you got to think that about the only thing that the Chiefs can do on the field that kind of boost their chances defensively is just scheme wise. And that's, that's the difficulty, is that they're going to have to probably, and there's, hey, you don't have a better defensive coordinator in the league to do this. They're probably going to have to come up with some unscouted looks from a blitz standpoint, some things that haven't been on film, things that teams haven't seen before, which is going to be tough because, Spags will throw the kitchen sink at some people, but he's probably going to have to throw the kitchen sink, the sprayer, the hose, everything in this week because, we've seen it. Their blitz has had diminishing returns. And I think a big part of that has just been how much they've had to blitz this year because they haven't been able to consistently get there with four. I don't think that's going to dramatically change because the personnel hasn't changed. And I don't think there's a whole lot you can do from a scheme standpoint that's going to improve the front four. It is what it is. So how do you supplement that? I mean, it's going to be who you blitz with, where you're bringing them from, how guys have developed, if there's any new wrinkles that you can throw into it. Now, granted, not every game is going to be like the Cowboys from a pass standpoint, because let's face it, I mean, the Chiefs' kryptonite, especially because it's Trent McDuffie's kryptonite, are big physical receivers. So I'll be worried about any team that can put two big physical receivers out there. I mean, there's a reason why the Chiefs have always consistently struggled with the Bengals, and they've struggled with the Eagles, and now they struggled with the Cowboys the other night. Anybody who can put a couple of guys who are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" out there against the Chiefs, that's a bad matchup for them. So, hey, is it going to be that same way the rest of the season? No, because the Chiefs aren't going to be facing every team every week that's got matchup problems like that.
And you bring up that point, and it makes you wonder, how do they address the corner issues that they've had? Because they have not had consistent corner play this entire season, and they keep moving people around, and it looks like they're trying to figure out what they think the best matchups are, but they haven't worked out in their favor. How do they address that going into a game that they have to win against the Texans?
Well, and that really goes back to, in part one, that the Chiefs haven't really figured out, what's their best rotation and even who their best third corner is. I mean, that's why obviously they use a lot of dime packages with the safety as that slot corner, because they feel like that Shamari Connor and Chris Roland Wallace are a better option when putting three corners on the field than moving McDuffie back into the slot and putting, whether it's Noel Williams or Christian Fulton or Josh Williams, putting any of these folks out as another corner. They don't have that faith and confidence. And it's problematic, I think, too, that you're this late into the season and, hey, Najee Johnson's healthy. He's been healthy for a while. And the fact that they haven't broken the glass on that yet and even activated the practice window on Najee Johnson is really bizarre to me. I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't gone to that. I mean, they could obviously open up the 3-day practice window for him. Maybe that happens this week, but I'm not entirely sure why they haven't, brought him back yet and what's the holdup there, because clearly they're struggling. I mean, they don't have it. And now Jalen been kind of in a slump. These have been his last two games have been the worst two games of the season for him. Now it's, a question of what other options do they have?
And now it's Nico Collins and Higgins and guys that you have to physical up with. They have an opportunity here. You have to take it by the horns and seize that opportunity to be on national football and bow yourself up. Will they do it? Next. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game and you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets that happen during the game. Everything for everyone who will score from the next point to the fourth quarter comeback. Plus, you can even combine them all into a same-game parlay, take an even bigger shot at a payout. Keeps everything exciting. It keeps it up to the minute, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead to FanDuel.com and sign up. Over at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. There's a lot that goes into getting to this point in the season. There are injuries. CRW, we didn't even mention his injury. Hopefully, we'll have more information on that for you tomorrow when we get to the crossover, as well as our pregame setup. So don't miss any of that. But, Matt, the next thing that comes into it is the ability to get past all of the negatives, get past the shortcomings, and focus in on this opponent, the Houston Texans, on Sunday Night Football, national TV. I generally feel like the bulk of this roster plays up to the national broadcasts. Obviously, they're young players, first and second year guys that don't have that much experience, but they have to at this point. This has to be a motivator for them to go out and prove what all the naysayers are saying, that you're not good enough to even make the playoffs. I think that's got to be part of the message from the coaching staff this week, to go in there and grab it by the throat and take it over. Do you think they can?
Yeah, I mean, and you've mentioned it, already, in the fact that this is another team that does not match up well for the Chiefs from a receiver standpoint, and that means that they're going to have to be physical, and that's exactly what Andy Reid and his remarks on Monday were all about. Is that this team has got to give, in these last 5 games, everybody their best shot, and this one in particular, because like Chris mentioned earlier, you can make the playoffs. There's a scenario where the Chiefs make the playoffs at 10-7, but if your tiebreaker is lost to the Texans, I mean, you can only beat pretty much the Ravens and the Colts from a tiebreaker standpoint, and then you're really rooting for a lot of games to fall the right way, and that's going to be difficult. So, you can make the playoffs at 10-7 as long as one of those losses isn't to the Texans. That's a bad one. So you got to pull this one off. But, hey, the Chiefs, to their credit, defensively, they play a lot better, especially against the pass at home. And that's probably the one advantage that they're going to have to lean on. And I'm not normally one who would say that the home field advantage makes a big difference, but in this case it does, because, if your crowd's able to get if you're able to get the Texans to commit some penalties, if they were able to get some false starts, get their rhythm off, I mean, all of a sudden you can turn a 2nd and 10 into 2nd and 15. That's huge. And the Chiefs have had some drives this year, some moments like that, where that's exactly what they got and what they needed. So in this one, I mean, the home field advantage and the crowd difference might be the thing that will help out the Chiefs the best, because, their pass defense is a lot better at home than it's been on the road. And so if you're going to bounce back from a rather poor performance that you had against the Cowboys, I mean, the crowd can be your best friend on Sunday night against the Texans.
Well, and it also goes back the other direction as well. If you're the home team, it helps you when you're on offense because you're not dealing with the crowd noise. And there's almost nobody in the NFL that probably is going to benefit from that more than Jawaan Taylor, just based on the amount of penalties he's gotten, especially when he's away from home. So in this scenario, I do think it could work in Kansas City's favor. Whether or not, if he's able to play, I think that's a huge deal. We still need to know about Trey Smith. We still need to know about Christian Roland-Wallace. A lot of questions of what we don't know right now going into prepping for this Houston game. But you look at it in Kansas City's offense, if they can show up like they have in certain games this year, if they can show up like they did in the Baltimore game, if they can kind of show up like they did against the Colts, I think that you would feel pretty good about your chances to win this game. But as Ryan said, you have to show up. The spotlight's going to be on. This is a primetime game.
And it needs to be the one that is the more aggressive, not just on defense, which I certainly feel has not been succinct enough. I mean, Spags alone having to send 5 rushers, we know that that's probably a possibility, Matt. One thing that I want to see, and one player that I want to spotlight now, I know it's early in the week, but the guy that I don't think is being sent enough, can be used as a pass rusher, at least in addition to the top 4, is Leo Chenal. And I hope that they change the whole dynamic around how they use Leo right now, because I think they have to have it.
I was hoping. I knew you were going to. I know you too well, Ryan, that didn't believe that you weren't going to say Leo Chenal, but I was like, gosh, I hope he's leading up to talk about Leo, because that's who we need to be talking about. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we're talking about if you're the Spagnuolo, you've got to be able to come up with some blitzes that defenses haven't seen. And that's one thing that you have kind of kept in reserve, is that you haven't used him as much. I mean, there have been some times that they've, lined up Leo over the middle, almost as a nose tackle, but that's usually when they've been dropping him back into a spy role. He's occasionally lined up in kind of a wide 9 on the outside as a pass rusher, but I'm with you. I mean, I think that the Chiefs have just over the years, and part of it's just because, he's not the Mike, he's not playing inside like he did in college as much. So he's not like blitzing from an inside position as much as he did in college, but he's so capable of that. He's so strong. So finding a way, to me, that, if you're going to bring a 5th pass rusher, to me, Leo is a guy to start bringing more and more. And hey, will teams make adjustments to it? Possibly, but may also get home, and that's what you need. So there's a few guys that fit into that category. I mean, we know that the Chiefs love to blitz with Trent McDuffie and Chamari Connor. Guess what? Everybody in the league knows that. So they're looking for it every single time. And I think against the Cowboys, you saw it. I mean, the Cowboys did a really good job of picking those guys up on blitzes. So why not be bringing Leo Chenal? I still don't know why you don't bring Jaden Hicks more in rush situations. I mean, and especially in blitzing situations. You're going to have to start bringing pressure from unexpected places if you want to get production.
I agree. I personally feel like a stand-up role where he can twist with Charles Menahue on that tackle and hit the B gap and be able to flip it as well. I think that's important. And I think that's key, especially to the blind side of Stroud. I think that's a viable aspect of this game that we have to see change. I know there's a lot to it. Is there anything right now, tonight, a few days well before this game, that you'd like to see them try at this point?
I mean, honestly, one of the biggest things I think that they need to look at is what they're doing offensively, because I feel like that the Chiefs, consistently all season, I get why they're trying to play what Andy Reid would tell you was a good complementary style, the ball control offense and trying to run time off the clock. That's what's led you to be the team that's averaging the most points, the most plays, the most time, all of these things, on per drive basis. But I mean, at this point, especially against a team that's got some really good big guys up front that you want to try and wear down, you've got speedy depth at wide receiver, and you're not going to be running the football a lot because the Chiefs, one, they don't do it, and two, they're not real good at it. So when you do all these things, to me, the principle is put the ball in the hand of your offense and just take the governor off. Let them fly. Because we know Patrick Mahomes can do that. He can run the offense that's going to go up and down the field. And going up and down the field doesn't mean throwing necessarily 60-yard bombs. Sometimes it's going to mean that you just hit, Rashee Rice and let Rashee Rice take 15 yards and turn it into 40. But you do that on purpose. I mean, you do it with intention. You do it with the idea of going up and down the field, 6 plays, 80 yards. Instead of 14 plays, 80 yards. I think, to me, this offense, as good as it is and as good as the Chiefs believe that it is, why aren't you getting into boat races? Yeah. Because, once again, if you're holding yourself to 7 possessions a game, you're pretty much ensuring that every game is going to be a 1-possession game. If you've got 14 possessions in a game, it's going to be who scores the most times. And I'm going to bet on the Chiefs in almost every single scenario that they're going to be the ones that score the most.
Yeah, even when it's not playing into their strengths. I agree with you. The more possessions is an advantage for them. And I do think that 12 to 18 yards is the sweet spot for this offense. You'll hear more about that over on RGR, folks. Thank you. Matt, and thank you for your insight and giving us where we're at, especially when Chris had some internet problems, had to drop out. I appreciate you hanging in.
I've been there before, so I feel it.
Folks, you have a great day. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out Matt at ChiefsDigest.com and over at 41 is the mic, as well as my outlets at NFL33.com and RGRFootball.com. Much appreciated. Have a great day. Thanks for being an everydayer, and check out another Locked On show next, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.